Good morning to you and welcome to our Monday morning live crafting. My name's Jenny McCormack. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and I'm based in Brackley in the UK. Thank you so much for joining me today. Last week we featured this fabulous stamp set called In Symmetry, and I am continuing with that. Today I'm going to be using some of the matching Sweet Symmetry papers for my cards. So I'm going to do a card loosely based on an example in the catalogue. I'm going to make two different cards from the same sort of technique. So I hope you like these. I hope everybody had a good weekend. It's rather damp and dull here this morning, but that is perfect for crafting, of course. And I do have my coffee and card this afternoon in toaster, so looking forward to that. Good morning, Lynn, and thank you so much for joining us. So the Sweet Symmetry suite can be found on page 112 113 in our new annual catalogue. You can buy the complete suite, which actually includes the stamp set, the designer paper, and the matching Flirty Flamingo gold metallic ribbon, which is this one here. There's a better picture of it in here. And it also includes the punch, which punches out this lovely leaf design. So I'm going to be using the punch tomorrow, but the whole suite, including all of that, is £46. The stamp set on its own is £16 and the punch on its own is £17. Okay, so the design that I picked out, and I appreciate you'll find this quite hard to see, is this card here. So it's a white card and it has a tag, and the tag is made up of strips of designer series paper. I'm not sure, oh, you might be able to just see that in a bit more detail there. So what I thought I would do is do a piece of card which features all the strips of paper, and then make one into a backing for a card, and then make the other into a tag for the front of the card. So that's my plan, and that's on page 112 and 113 of the annual catalogue. Hi Monica, thanks for joining us this morning. I trust that you're keeping well. Okay, so this is the designer paper. Now I picked out some sheets of card and some of the sheets. I realise that's the same one. But it's really pretty, as you can imagine, symmetrical papers. Let me just show you some of the entire collection of papers. So we have this one with Bumblebee on one side, and then this with the Night of Navy, Bumblebee and Flirty Flamingo. Really pretty. And then we have this one here. So this is Just Jade, Calypso Coral and Bumblebee. And that's the combination of colours that I'm going to be using. This is the same combination. And on the reverse of those we have some Flirty Flamingo. Morning Laura. Thanks for joining us this morning. This one has that lovely Night of Navy backing. And then this one has the pink background and Calypso Coral on the other side. So I might introduce that coral one as matching my colours. And then we have this one with all of those colours together with the Night of Navy backing and Just Jade on the front. So let me pick out the colours that I had selected. So I'm going to tuck those away. I've got the same colours of cardstock out. There we go. So I think I've got 5 different sheets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these into strips and apply them to a piece of card. And then I'm going to die cut a tag, excuse me, from that card. And then I've got some matching pieces of card here to work with. So what I'm actually going to do is choose another piece of this, because I want, going to start with, I'm going to start with my piece of card this way. I'm going to lay the strips across, and then I'm going to cut one as a front panel for a card, and one I'm going to cut the tag shape out of. So I need the patterns to be going in that direction, although there's nothing to stop you doing it the other way around. Let me grab this one here. Okay, so let me find my little set of tags, which I had all to hand, and now which have magically disappeared. How can that happen? Just tell me how that happens. I literally had them right in front of me. Here they are. Whew. So these are the tag dies, and I'm going to be using the largest one. Some of these are missing because I've got them cutting other bits and pieces up, so one of the smaller ones. So I'm thinking I'm going to have one of these in half, and I'm just wondering if I will have enough for 2 tags. That's what I'm looking for. No, so I think what I'm going to do, rather than, no, I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to do the whole thing, because then I can use another panel for something, I'm sure. You can tell it's Monday morning, can't you guys? So what I'm going to do is cut these strips across here to this width. So let's grab my trimmer, and I can cut, you can cut between 2 and 3 of these easily at any one time. So what I'm going to do is cut them actually to 6 inches, which is just a little bit over this width. No, it's not. You can tell it's Monday, can't you? Because I want it to go across that way. So this is, of course, 21 centimetres. So I'm going to cut this at 21.5 to start with. So I want a bit of overlap, like so. And that will nicely do some front panels of cards as well. So I'll do those 2. And I'm just making sure that I've got these in the direction that I want them, because my strips are going to go like that. Okay. Now there are 2 bumblebee designs, so it doesn't really matter which one I use. And you could use a combination of cards and paper if you wanted for this. Go. Now you can change the size of your strips if you wish. So on the sample they had varying strips, and they were also at an angle. I think I'm going to do, maybe I'm going to do all of mine do them all 1/2 inch. I just have this feeling, because they're symmetrical, I think I quite like having them all like so. So let's do, I'll do that 1 centimetre or half an inch. Half an inch. It's about 1.2 centimetres. Let's do one more. We might as well have more than we need rather than not enough. Morning, Carol G. And is it sunny Salcombe today, Carol? That's what we want to know, because it's not very sunny here at all. One. Two. And let's just line that up. So I have made this slightly wider than the paper I'm going to put it onto. And if you have a silicone mat, that's a really good idea, because you're less likely to get yourself attached to your paper underneath. Let me grab a spare piece of grid paper. That one will do. Okay. And you can use your glue of choice. I tend to prefer using wet glue because it gives you the option to move things around a little bit rather than being completely static. And I'm pleased to say that I do actually have comments coming up on my phone today, which is a bit of a miracle. So let's have a look. I think what I'm going to do is just organise these like so. Now you could use larger panels if you wanted a complete set of the flowers, for example. Just put that in between. This is the coral. That's worked out really nicely on that spacing. That is definitely more by luck than judgment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. And there's that one there. Okay, so I'm just going to start and just literally going to draw a line of glue along here. Going to wiggle it a little bit. And then just place this up at the top. Now I know I'm going to cut this all down, so it doesn't matter if it's not exactly on the top, because this is the same, this will be the same size as the front of the card, and obviously I'm going to make this as a layer. So I've got 3 solid and 2 patterned. So I think I'm going to do solid. Oh, that's not quite long enough, is it? Never mind. I'll use this bit over here for the for the tag. Best laid plans, girls. Okay, so solid, patterned, and I'm just using thin, our basic white card behind. Solid, patterned. So this is great for using up scraps of paper, or if you have a really bold design of paper with large patterns that you don't particularly like, or they're too big for your style, or too small and fancy for your style, then there's nothing to stop you using those rather than a, you know, a matching set. So think of it as using your offcuts. So I'm literally just sliding this into place, and then bumblebee. So nice, easy design from that point of view. Let me just check on my screen. Oh, bless you, Monica, thank you. Oh, it is sunny for Carol. Oh, so I spoke too soon. Lynn, so my comments have came up, and then as soon as I said that, the comments have now stopped. Oh dear. Maybe because I've touched something. So this is the bumblebee. I've cut this one short as well, haven't I? I have no idea what I was doing there. Right, so 2, 3, 4. Shall I introduce this one again? Or shall I do the green? Oh, decisions. I think I'm going to put that one in just so it keeps it, it breaks it up. So solid pattern, although it's not solid, it's a solid background really. There we go. And shade. There we have it. There we are, and then I don't think it really matters because you don't see a great deal of that pattern. I'm just going to swap these, just alternate them really, like so. Coral. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's about 12 because they're a little bit over a centimetre each, so that would tally, wouldn't it? There we go. Right, let me just see if I can get the comments coming back up on my phone. Fingers crossed. Somebody could comment or thumbs up, that would be useful, and I can see if we're back together. Right, that one, that one. Oop. Throwing that away. Thank you, Lynn. I can see those. And bumblebee. And I will put one more on, so I've got a bit more option when I'm cutting out. Oops. Now obviously this is perfect for die cutting a whole series of things, so you could die cut some circles, all sorts. And for this last one, I'm just going to put the glue on here so that I haven't got glue overhanging, and we're on to, there we go. Voila. Okay, so there's my base. So I'm going to cut one into a layer for a card, and then I'm going to cut a tag out of the other one. So it was the tag that was the inspiration for today's set of cards. So let's bring this back in. So I'm just going to trim this edge first. So I've got a nice flat edge on my left hand side, like so. And I'm going to cut this to 9.5 so that I've got space for a layer and then my card base. So, and then obviously I've got this piece hanging off the bottom. So the height of this, let's just tidy this very top piece. For my layers, this needs to be 13.85 centimeters. So what I'm actually going to do is take half of that piece at the bottom and then trim it so it's a little bit more even top and bottom. Does that make sense? So that I've got this piece and this piece rather than a tiny sliver or a complete piece at the bottom and a half piece at the top. So that's going to be that's going to go onto a card base and a card. And then this piece here, I'm going to trim this down so this would obviously make another card base if I wanted it to. But what I'm going to do is die cut that with one of our tailored tag dies. So you could cut it like that in the center, and the example they had actually in the catalogue, whether they die cut it that way or whether they'd started it, I don't know, is you could have it at an angle. So what do you reckon? Just wondering if I could get 2 out of that. I mean, obviously if I did it straight, let's get these out. I could just about get 2. I could take a slightly smaller one. This is a bit narrower, like so. So I could definitely get 2 like that out of the panel. And in fact, you're probably all shouting at me because you could do that and actually get 3. Let me see. Hi, Yuta. Oh, bless you, Carol. Morning, Jill. Straight and do 2 tags in 1 pass. Hi, Katie. Yes, I think I'm going to do it that way. Then I get 3 out of 1. And the nice thing with these little tags is that you have these dies here that cut like the little, what would be a reinforcement piece. And there's circular ones that go with this one, and slightly squared off one that goes with this. So I will cut those as well. Now if I look at where this is going to be positioned on my die cutting machine, I want a contrasting colour for the little what's it called? The little reinforcer. So I might just have a little piece of bumblebee for that one, same for that one, or coral perhaps. And then this one doesn't really matter, it can be, I might do that as just jade. So let's cut those out. I am going to apply a little bit of tape. So this is our removable tape. Just going to trim a little bit off, because what I want to do is put this in my die cutting machine at an angle, because then it's not going to hit all of these pieces in one go. It's a bit kinder to your machine. We all want our machines to last as long as possible. Really pretty colours, aren't they? Yes, thanks user. Definitely maximise for 3. Find the end of my tape. It's so magic, you can't see it. So what I like about this tape is that it doesn't tear your paper. Okay, I'm going to put that across those. So if this was my cutting plate, it means I can put them in at an angle like that, and then it's spreading the load. That one's not actually too bad if you've done it that way, but if you're doing it this way, you've got all of this pressure in one go and then this pressure. So it's always best to put them through on your plate where you can. It's not always practical, at an angle. And I'll cut these out. So I'm just going to get, could use card. You could actually use, if I was clever, these pieces here. That would be very frugal, wouldn't it? But I'm actually going to use a piece of card, just to be awkward. Let's grab yellows. An offcut of Calypso. An offcut of Bumblebee, because I'm not quite sure which ones I'm going to use. So let's pop this on my plate. So with our die cutting machine, I've got my base mat, I've got my cutting mat, the die cutting layer, sorry, a clear mat. I'm going to add these on, as I said, at an angle. And then I'm just going to cut out some of these. So I organise my scraps by general colour. So I have scraps for yellows, scraps for oranges, etc. And I have scraps of greens. There's a little bit of jade in case I need it. Okay, so actually I might do some jade for this one. Is the square one, like so. This one is the circular one. I'll keep that there if needed. Pop that on, and I'll just die cut that to the side. Like so. Oops. So I hope everybody had a good weekend just while I'm die cutting this. Sorry ladies, or gents and gents. Right, there we go. So we've got those reinforcers there. for the square edged ones. And it's here. There we go. Right. Oh, well done, Yuta. Okay, so it's unpeeled. So scraps cards are just so easy to make. So there's our tag there. So it has the little hole in it. There's one. I do like these tags, and I like the fact you've got two styles. Like so. Keep that tape. Voila. Okay. Put them back on the sheet before I lose them. It goes in there. Stick those on. Those ones. Tuck it back in its pocket. So they're called Tailor-Made tags dies, and they're £20. Okay, so while I'm here, I might as well attach these on. So this is the one, it has like an oval inside, as you can see. So that can go on there. Like that. And then this circular one, I've got a calypso coral, and then this one again I've got the it's not just jade, actually it's darker than jade, but it's perfect for my purpose. Now what I could have done was cut those out with self-adhesive sheet behind it, so that I didn't need to apply glue to this small area, but I'll risk that. Just use some tweezers and just position this on here. If you were making a tag that was sort of completely separate, you could put this on both sides if you wanted to. There's one. And you could also put just a dot there if you preferred. Two. And three. So I'm just going to use one of the tags for now, but it means I've got some others at the ready. And I could also cut some of the larger tags so that this one here obviously layers onto that, so you could have a darker layer tag behind if you wanted to. Okay, so those are my tags ready, and I do also have some Just Jade ribbon. I may have some Calypso coral ribbon to go through the tag, or you could use some white. Okay. The little circles are, no, they're not two sizes, so there's just one size fits all, Yuta. But there's two different styles. So there's the one with the oval centre here, and one with the circle. Oops. And what's nice is it's one die that cuts 3, so you can do a whole bunch at the same time, and then you could obviously keep those ready with your what I would do is keep those in a little bag in with the dies, so that I've got them for when I need them. Okay, so let's make a card out of this. So let's do this one first. I'm going to layer it and then maybe layer it onto white. So let's have a look and see. I've got this one. There's Calypso. I think the yellow is too light. That's Bumblebee. I'm thinking probably that would be a good bet. So let's just cut that out, and that will be 10 by 14.35. No, 30, yes, 14.35. So with any luck, I've cut this right. So I've got a ½ centimetre border all the way around, like so. That could go onto a Bumblebee card, colour wise, or it could go onto a white card or a Calypso Coral card. Quite tempted with Calypso Coral. Okay, so a bit of glue on the back. So scribble all the way over, not too close to the edges and not too much, no height of glue on there. You could also put this through an embossing folder to make it look like fabric. That would be a really nice effect. We've got some lovely new embossing folders in the new catalogue. Really stunning. So I think I might just pop that onto a coral base. Yeah. And then I can I don't want to cover it up too much, so I might just put a sentiment on. I could do a cutout of the flowers. So 10.5, I'm going to score that, like so. So that's going to go onto there. So I think it really shows off the papers, doesn't it? Let's add that. Again, as I say, scribble of glue. You don't need any height of glue, just a nice layer all the way over. Make sure I've got my flowers the right way around. Like so. And then let me just see what I've got to hand. I have cut out a whole load of small ones ready for my class. It's a little bit too small. How is it you never have the right size? They're always too big or too small. So I could just do that. I could have that with the flower on. Ooh. Right, let me see. Oh, hi Tracy. Right, So what do we think? Should we stamp the flower on that and have that as the centre point, centerpiece, or shall we have just a sentiment on there? Let me know what you think. We just see. In the sample in the catalogue, they had a sentiment, and then they cut out one of the flowers. I think I might just do the sentiment on there. Just a sentiment, and use this as a flower. Right, let's try just a sentiment. And I'm thinking, thanks so much, but maybe I'll put in flower around the edge or something. Whoops. The leaves are jumping. So this has got a thanks so much, which I think I'll stamp in Calypso Coral. Make it stand out a little bit. There we go. I might do one with this and then one with the flower, and then we can decide. Thanks so much. And could put, let's do one with the flower and then I can decide. So this is Calypso Coral for our flower. Like so. And then we've got sets of leaves that we can use that work really nicely, or you've got individual leaves, so it really depends on the look you prefer. And you can do it with or without the stalk. I'm going to add the stalk, and I'm going to stamp that obviously in Just Jade so that it is coordinating. Whoops. There we go. Right. There we go, and add the leaves. Now we do have a sale of our designer papers coming up starting the 1st of July, and these are for our new papers. And I have a feeling this could be one that is in the sale. Okay. 1, 2. So let's see what we think. So I could put maybe a little hello on the bottom of that, or I can add some little flowers to this one. Just topped off. We've got this little flower here. We'll just try it and see. So, and then I'm just going to grab the small leaf and just have that coming in from the edge. There we go. So just stamping that on next to those sort of tulip style flowers. There we go. So let's find a sentiment for underneath there, and then we can make our mind up. So I've got thinking of you, hello, thank you. Let's see if the thank you will fit on there. It will indeed. Okay. So I'm going to do that in Calypso Coral on the bottom. Take my glasses off. There we go. Take that off. Pop it back on there for the moment. Okay. Cover up the ink pads. And I'm thinking actually that I prefer that, because that's just a little bit too busy, but that might fit on here. Oh, it's perhaps a little bit too big, isn't it? So I'm going to pop that on there, but I think I'm going to layer it with something behind it. Calypso Coral, I think. I managed to cut my finger at the weekend, and it's amazing how just a tiny little cut can really make a difference. Oh, not quite. Okay. So what I'm actually going to do is affix this with some glue and then just trim around it. So this is a great way, as we said earlier, and you just said, you know, use up scraps. They don't have to all coordinate, so I've chosen obviously the papers and the colours to coordinate, but you could literally go rogue and just put almost anything together. And let's just do like that. There we go. No measuring. I'm just going to pop that up on there with some dimensionals. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I thought sentiment first, but I think maybe the shape wasn't ideal, and that's why it didn't look, it wasn't really coordinating shape wise. So there we go. That's it. It's going to hop onto there. I'm just deciding where that's going based on colours. It's better. There we go. Gem in the middle. Got Bumblebee, but it doesn't look quite right, so I'm thinking just a standard rhinestone. Like so, just a small one. There we go. So there's our first card. I will put an inner with a little bit of design on it, but I think that is fine as is. And then for the other one, so I've got a choice of tags here. So this one would work obviously sideways on. Just going to use one of those two. Let's have a look, see. So I think what I might do is cut out, as I've got this scrap here. I was hoping it would fit in there. Doesn't quite. But cut out one that size to go behind it. And then pop that onto a card, maybe just with some plain designer paper behind it. So let's grab that tag die. Everything's attached itself where it shouldn't. So I'm going to use this one. So it's got the larger one. So it's all just not quite the right size. There we go. And I think I'll put the Bumblebee layer as well. And I can cut those both out together. The die will go through 2 layers. So I'll just run those through. we are. Something sticky on there. And hook those. Do it like that. There we go. Could do that one that way round. Or I could leave them loose. I'll do them like that. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of glue between them. So, oops, Daisy. Like that. And maybe just a small maybe a small sentiment on it. Let's have a look. So I've got a Calypso card base left, and they had theirs on white with a white layer behind. Well, they had white on white. This looks a bit harsh to me. Oh, that might work with some designer paper on top. There we go. It's a little too busy. Oh. That's quite pretty, quite like that. And yellow being one of my favourite colours. So I'm going to cut this. Doesn't really matter which way this goes, so I'm going to cut this to 10. By 14.35. Cut this as a card base. So 14.85. Stored at 10.5. Obviously these are all centimetres. Let's see what that looks like. So bumblebee, designer paper, and my tag. Yeah, I like that. As I say, I will do the inners and the envelopes when we've finished. There's that one there. And you can choose obviously to have whichever part you want straight. So I'm going to have this bit straight but showing those pieces there. Add a little bit of white twine, and I think maybe a longer sentiment. What about this banner one? Like that just reaches over either side. And see if thank you will fit on that. Whoops, which it will. And I'll do that in just jade. And we're done. So sorry it's gone on a bit longer than planned. The basic design was the quickest bit, just my decisions that take the time. Thank you. Just checking because I think that'll be, yeah, it just covers up too much of it, doesn't it? You want to be able to see the design. So I'm going to pop that on dimensionals and that on dimensionals, and we're done. So as I say, initial inspiration from the catalogue for the strips of designer paper. I will find some twine for this as well. I'm sure in my stash I've got Calypso Coral and White somewhere. Okay, so this is going straight and central. Like that. And I'll dig out some twine to put through. I do actually have that lovely bumblebee gingham, which I think would look nice. Gosh, throwing everything today. Let's just stick that down. So I've got 2 tags for other things, so they could go with a gift, for example. So if I can find some of that bumblebee gingham, and we're done. There we go, there it is. So that's one good thing, as you will already know about Stampin' Up, is that everything coordinates. So I'm going to just thread that through. Obviously it would have been easier if I'd done this before I touched it. I'll take my glasses off. I think what I'll do is poke it up from the back. Grab it with my tweezers. Of course it's just where my cut is on my finger. Definitely attach your ribbon before you attach it to your card. Doesn't want to know, does it, that way? There we go. Got it. So I'm just going to knot this, I think. Normally I would wrap some baker's twine around it maybe, but I think I can get away with a knot like so. Just trim it to size. There we go. Whew. Made it. So there's our two cards. Let me clear the deck slightly so you can see what we've created. So that's the Bumblebee Gingham ribbon. There's our two designs, and then we've got spare tags because I cut those out. I can use those on a gift, for example, or on another card. So thank you so much for joining me. Sorry it was a bit longer than our normal session, but I hope you like the designs. Thank you, Yuta. Appreciate your nice comments. Thank you for those of you that have stayed with me all this time while I prattled on. It is Monday morning, afternoon, after all. So I will be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. for our next Facebook Live. I have coffee and card this afternoon in Toaster. That's fully booked at the minute, but if you want to book for another week, just give me a shout. And I also have coffee and card in Brackley on a Friday, and this week is also fully booked, but you can book for next week onwards. So thank you everybody. I hope you have a good day. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Look after yourselves and your loved ones, and I hope you can keep crafting. Thanks so much for watching today. Bye for now. Bye bye.